So with that, I'm going to call to order tonight's meeting of the Utility Service Board. First item is approval of the minutes from our previous meeting on November 8th. Are there any concerns about the minutes or changes to the minutes? All right, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve the November 8th meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All right, and Latrina, can you please call the roll?
Sure. White?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes.
Kapler?
Yes.
Burnham?
Yes.
Parmenter?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Minutes are approved. Next are the approval of the claims. First item is standard invoices in the amount of $1,231,681.05. Are there any questions or concerns about invoices? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to approve invoices?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina, please call the roll.
Kapler?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes.
Burnham?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Parmenter?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next item is utility bills in the amount of $189,379.75. Any questions, comments about utility bills? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina?
Sherman?
Yes.
Parmenter?
Yes.
Burnham?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Kapler?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next item is wire transfers in the amount of $371,239.16. Any questions on wire transfers? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to approve wire transfers?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina?
Parmenter?
Yes.
Roberts?
Yeah.
Okay.
My speaker wasn't working, so I had to log out and log back on.
Okay. All right. Might have you record your vote, please.
I did not hear the item, so I don't think I should vote.
Oh, got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Burnham?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Kapler?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Then we have customer refunds in the amount of $3,515.71. Are there any questions or comments on refunds? All right, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve customer refunds?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina?
Kapler?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes.
Burnham?
Yes.
Roberts?
Yes.
Parmenter?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Next, we have the approval of the consent agenda. And so I will ask Vic Kelson to present this.
Good evening, everyone. Vic Kelson, Utilities Director. I'm here with tonight's consent agenda, which totals $43,356.37. Item A, to Wessler Engineering, $8,300 to design and install a SCADA user interface at Dillman. Item B, Henry P. Thompson, $5,009.46 to repair and rebuild a pump at Monroe. Item C, Crane One Services, $5,261.54 to rebuild and reinstall the trolley motor on raw pump station crane at Dillman. Item D, Thermoelectron NA LLC, no dollars. That's the First Amendment to extend a completion date for the lab. Item E, Building Associates, $16,785.37. The new, ouch. That's the first amendment to extend the life of the agreement to upgrade the heating units at Dillman. And then the last is City Glass of Bloomington, $8,000 for an on-call contract for window repairs. I point out that item E, Building Associates, that adds to the previous contract for a new not to exceed amount of $1,280,185.37. Is there any board member who would like to consider one of these items separately from the others? Hearing none, if there's no opposition, the consent agenda will be approved as recommended by staff. Hearing no opposition, the consent agenda is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Vic. All right. Next on the agenda, we have a request for approval of a memorandum of understanding with Bloomington SPCW JB LLC for the I&I program contribution. And Phil Peden will tell us about this. Phil?
Hi, good evening, board members. Phil Peden with the engineering department. Yes, this is another MOU for a development within the Southeast Sewer Basin. Amanda, do you have an issue?
It's I don't know if it's just me, but it's a little difficult to hear you, Phil. It's okay. So I see Julie shaking her head and
Louder is better? Okay.
Yes, please.
So this is another MOU in the Southeast Sewer Basin along the College Mall Road area. And so similarly to the last few, we are getting contributions for our I&I reduction program, our clear water reduction program, to offset the future flows that are projected for the new development. This one is called the Curry Urban Development, and it's at Pete Ellis and Longview Drive. It's behind Aldi's or that party store, supply store there. And it's an open lot right now. It's a mixed use development with apartments, retail, and a doctor's office. And their future flows are projected at 185,848 gallons per day, which equates to a contribution for the I&I program of $174,697. I would ask that you approve this MOU. And I'm here to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board? All right, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve this memorandum of understanding with Bloomington SPCW JB LLC?
so moved.
Second.
And Latrina, can you please call the roll?
White,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Kapler.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Motion is approved.
Thank you.
All right. Now, thank you, Phil. Now we have a request for approval of an agreement with Arcadis US Inc. for filter room upgrades at Monroe Water Treatment Plant. And Dan Hudson, I'll turn this over to you. Dan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, the filters need to be replaced at the Monroe Water Treatment Plant, and we have chosen Arcadis as the primary consultant to do the design on that. And the reason why we did that is because they did the study to determine what type of filters we need. So with the filter design, we are also looking at air handling in the unit in the filter room area, along with electrical upgrades for wiring and for electric for lighting and some ceiling work too, structural ceiling work. So I don't have the cost in front of me right now. So if someone would name that off, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, we've got $155,545, not to exceed.
That's correct. Thank you. Yeah.
Vic, did you have a, oh, and you're muted.
Just for clarification, we're not replacing the filters, we're replacing the filter media and possibly the under drains.
That's correct, yes.
Yes.
All right, are there any questions or comments from the board? Okay, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve this agreement with Arcadis?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina, please call the roll.
Roberts,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes,
Parmenter,
Yes.
Yes.
Burnham.
Yes.
Thank you.
all right, thank you. Next item is, thank you, Dan. Next item is a request for approval of a second amendment to the agreement with BET Engineering for additional subsurface soil delineation. And so I'll ask James Hall to tell us about this.
Hi, thank you. James Hall, CBU Environmental. So the second amendment is for a total of $433,492.28. It's basically the same as the first amendment, but there's a lot more material that we're looking at handling and getting rid of. The first estimation we had was 1,310 cubic yards. Now we think at the total will be 3,650 cubic yards. So almost 3 times the amount of material we need removed. And so basically it's doubling the contract with that to oversee the removal and the disposal and the testing and the tracking of all that material. So it will bring not to exceed amount of $931,213.95. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I saw Kirk White's hand first and then Amanda.
Yeah, I just wanted to double check. This is still the old Leonard's dry cleaning site, correct?
Correct.
We're up to $931,000 in remediation to clean up this site.
Correct, on the environmental side, correct.
Are we still looking for possible insurance coverage or anything along those lines that can help us recoup some of this? Was in effect back then?
Chris Wheeler has been in contact with prior representatives of the prior owners of the property, and he's working on getting information for us.
Okay, how does this, with these, that's a pretty large additional appropriation. I just wonder how that's affecting the bottom line, the total line of the project cost.
Well, the project cost is around 13, was planned to be around 13 million. This adds another million, basically. So 6%, 7%, somewhere in there. It's a big expense.
I wasn't part of the board at the time. Did we bond for this? I assume.
Yes, we did.
Are we going to need to bond more, or do we have enough in reserve in the bonds to do this?
Well, we've been holding off some other activities on the stormwater side to make sure we don't run out of cash. Laura can speak better than I can to the details on the finances, but we've discussed it and we can cover it. We're just going to have to work it through. Laura, can you say more about this? You're muted.
Oh, and you're muted.
Hi, sorry, Laura Pettit, Assistant Director for Finance. We did have some contingency funds on the bond. Those have been exhausted and we do have cash that can cover it. And we've set it aside in a stormwater improvement fund so that we're not spending it on other projects.
Okay, James, I guess then any estimate on whether this will handle it, or are we still looking at more maybe?
No, this should be it. They're very confident this will be the last amendment that we need to cover it all. And they're overestimating at the 3650. So hopefully we won't use all the funds available for this.
Well, I realize.
And Amanda.
Yeah, needs to be done. Thank you.
Amanda, you had a comment?
Actually, Kirk asked one of my questions, which was, where are the funds coming from? This is no small chunk of change to come out of our, already very tight budget. So, to hear that there's projects that there are projects that are going to be put on hold right now due to this additional cost, correct? Okay.
Yes, right. Yes, right now there are some projects that we might have attempted this fall that we haven't, because we're just making sure we keep the cash on hand while we go through all this. We'll be able to regroup. We will be doing a review of the stormwater fee, and then with the new capital improvement plan coming up in 2022. Hopefully around mid-year, we'll be bringing that to the board and to the council. When that happens, certainly prior to that happens, I would hope we'll have answers about the insurance coverage and all of those kinds of things, and we'll work that all into the analysis.
Thank you. And Jim Sherman.
Yeah, I don't see Chris Wheeler present at the meeting, but Vic, at the next meeting, maybe Chris could report to us about how the negotiation is going with respect to getting recompense. I don't think we've heard from him in terms of how that's going.
Certainly, Chris is out this week on PTO. So what we can do is have him bring information the next time. I know he's only recently been able to make contact with the right people. So it's taken some research to find out who those people were and find out how to contact them. So he may have some answers the next USB meeting.
Thanks.
Kirk.
Well, I guess my concern is that, if we're going to have to consider additional expenses for the ratepayers on storm drainage, we've got to be able to look straight in the face and say, we did all we could as a government entity to recoup these costs so that they're not unfairly placed on the ratepayers, and the responsible parties are held accountable. And that may mean, I don't know, obviously there's limits. If there is still, insurance that we could grab that was in place at that time, it's probably had lower limits than what we may be really needing these days. I wonder if there's any EPA grants that we might go after for something like this as well. I've heard about that for remediation of other leaking tank sites, but I have no idea. It's just something that we need to exhaust all avenues before we go back to the ratepayers for an increase to get the projects done that we really need to do. Thanks.
Yeah, certainly. We're going to exhaust every alternative there is out there before, certainly before next summer. We're going to do everything we can.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Kirk, for that comment. I fully agree. So, all right. I'll ask, is there a motion to approve the Second Amendment to the agreement with the ET Engineering?
So moved.
Second.
All right. And Latrina, please call the roll.
Yeah. Kepler?
Yes.
Parmenter? Yes.
Roberts?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Burnham?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next item is a request for approval of a memorandum of understanding with the Indiana Housing and Community Development for federal funding assistance program. And Laura Pettit will bring us up to speed on this.
Hi, good evening. We have an opportunity to work with the what is it? The Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority. They receive federal funds from the CARE Act to assist customers who have either been disconnected or have received a disconnect notice to receive money from the Low Income Housing Water Assistance Program. So this program will be administered through the South Central Community Assistance Program, or SCAP. And it will help customers who are in arrears be able to pay off the balance of their account and get their account turned back on. So we work with SCAP already with our own assistance program. This is a separate program. It does things that we can't do for our internal program. We can't use those funds for people, say, who have already been shut off. So this is just another tool that we'll have in our tool belt to be able to help our customers. It's a one-time benefit for eligible households. Those households are have a 60% of the state median income level, and SCAP does determine that eligibility for us. Let's see, and this program is slated to run through September of 2023. It'll go longer if there's funding available. And I figured you'd probably want to know our own internal funding program. We've spent about 50% of those funds this year. So our balance for our SCAP program is $26,748. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I saw Julie Roberts and then Megan.
Laura, how much of that fund do we usually spend in a year?
We added additional funds this year. So we added additional $5,000, I believe. We normally spend about 35, 40,000. So we've spent about almost 30. 25. There has been other assistance programs available through the federal government because of COVID, and I think that has eased some of the burden off of our assistance program.
That's what I figured. Thanks.
Yeah, because we've as of the end of October, we have had 110 SCAP customers.
And Megan, you had a question.
Thank you. I think that kind of answers it, but I was wondering if we had to exhaust our funds before we're able to use those other funds, and then approximately how many people were we anticipating being able to help?
Yeah, so because they address different areas, we would use them for different reasons. We generally tend to exhaust the federal funds before our own funds, but we have ours available if needed. We can always go back to the board and reappropriate additional funding if we were getting close, but we have plenty of funding this year. So we've been able to help everyone who's been eligible.
That's great, thank you.
And the federal funds will cover after disconnections. In our program does not allow us to provide support if you've already been disconnected. So the federal program gives us additional tools that we don't have in our own program as it's been promulgated.
And how quickly will this get initiated, like tomorrow? Or, I mean, when can these people receive the benefits?
Yeah, so really as soon as the MOU is signed and submitted back to the state, we'll get going. We've already had a number of customers contact us about wanting to participate. So we've basically just said, once the MOU gets signed, we'll address it then.
Any other comments or questions? All right, I would just like to say I'm really pleased to see this additional funding available for folks who have already been disconnected. People need good water, and so I'm glad that we've got this available, or will have. All right, so is there a motion to approve this memorandum of understanding with the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina, can you please call the roll?
Sure. Roberts?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes.
Burnham?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Parmenter?
Yes.
Kapler?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Motion is approved. Now, before we move on, I want to remind the public that if you would like to make any public comment, you can do that by putting that in the Facebook live stream comment section or in the Zoom chat if you're on the Zoom meeting. And then a little later in the meeting, Nolan will read those comments out loud. We've got a 5-minute time limit on public comment per comment. So I want to ask, is there any old business from the board? All right, any old business from staff?
None.
All right. Any new business from the board? Any new business from staff?
None.
Okay. I don't believe that we have any subcommittee reports. Is that correct, Latrina?
That's correct.
Okay. And staff reports, Vic Kelson.
Yes, I've got a couple of things. The first is we have some new staff change updates. The first is a new hire, a laborer in T&D named William Robertson. He's a new hire out there. And then we have some transfers. Chris Egan has moved to be a line person in T&D. Alan Christie also becomes a line person in T&D. And Maurice Lanyu has moved back to T&D to work as a lift station mechanic. There was also, just wanted to fill in for anybody who was watching the city council meeting the other evening. There was a graph presented that had some erroneous data regarding water loss. So if you happen to be watching and you saw the graph that suggests the water loss has been increasing the last couple of years, it actually hasn't. That the data that was used to make that graph that Planning and Transportation presented did not, those data were collected before we realized that there was a problem with the tabulation of all residential customers. So we have corrected it, and as we expected, the water loss has been decreasing since we added all the new meters. So I just wanted to fill that in. We're working to improve that water loss report, and we'll be sending an update. And then the last thing is just to thank everyone for all your service this year. It's been, it's always a pleasure to have you here, and thank you for all the time you commit to helping our department improve, and wish everyone a happy holiday.
Thank you, Vic. And I'll just say that I really enjoy serving on this board with my fellow board members, and working with the staff at CBU. We're always so professional and knowledgeable, and do a really great job throughout the year. So thank you. All right. So the last item is petitions and communications from the public. So Nolan, are there any public comments?
There are no comments.
Okay, well, thank you. And with that, I will just wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Take care.